Master Your Emotions English audiobook. Not being good enough. When I won the Oscar, I thought it was a fluke and I thought everybody would find out and they would take it back. They would come to my house knocking on the door. Excuse me, we meant to give that to someone else that was going to Meryl Streep. Jodie Foster. You think why would anyone want to see me again in a movie? And I don't know how to act anyway, so why I am doing this Meryl Streep? Do you feel as though you aren't good enough? Guess what? You are not the only one. The other day I wrote the following to a fellow blogger. There are a lot of topics I could write about, but there are already so many books out there. Sometimes I am like, what is the point? He replied, I know the feeling of what is the point. Everything worth saying has already been said, and who am I to write about anyway? What I achieved to so far? Well, I guess it's a natural. Good to know that we are not only ones struggling. Whether or not you are aware of it, millions of people feel the same. एक minute. Okay. Millions of people feel the same way. The feeling of not being good enough alone must have killed the more dreams than anything else. And who has never felt that way? Here is not the non exhaustive list of how I felt in my life. I am not good enough writer. I am not charismatic enough. I am not competent enough. I am not confident enough. I am not courageous enough. I am not disciplined enough. I am not good enough at public speaking. I am not handsome enough. I am not inspiring enough. And I am not interesting enough. I am not making enough money. I am not muscular enough. I am not patient enough. I am not perseverant enough. I am not proactive enough. I am not productive enough. I am not smart enough. I am not taking enough action. I am not tough enough. I am not working hard enough. My English isn't good enough. My Japanese isn't good enough. And my memory isn't good enough. And I could go on. People who feel they aren't good enough tend to have low self esteem. They focus on what they aren't good at while filtering out all these things they are good at. Try complimenting them and all your life years. It is no big deal. Worse, they may even think you're being polite or trying to manipulate them. These people have a hard time accepting compliments. Instead of simple thank you, they return the compliment or downplay their role. Perhaps you are acting the same way. See if you do one of the following things when receiving a compliment. Dismiss the whole thing as being no big deal. Anybody could have done it. Talk about all the things you did wrong while explaining what you could have done better. Try to return the compliment. Thank you. I think you did the fantastic job too. Notice your inability to accept the compliment 100% in the three cases above. You may not only brush off your accomplishment but also magnify every single of your failure to reinforce the case you aren't worthy. You keep a long list of your failures, unwilling to let go them as they fit your story. Who will you be if you were no longer man but or woman who's never good enough? As strange as it may seems, and there is something scary about that, at least the certainty of not being good enough gives you some comfort. Imagine what would happen if you release the hold you have your story. Try something you have always wanted to do and fail. What you suspected for a long time will become true. You aren't good enough. Or worse, what will happen if you were to success, and how will that fit into the your story? Remember, your brain is biased towards negativity. Adding your own bias will certainly not help you feel good about yourself. The fact is, you do most things well, and although a lack of experience, interest, or talent may explain why you aren't doing as well as you would like to in certain areas, it has nothing to do with you not being good enough. How to use the feeling of not being good enough to grow. Not feeling good enough is a sign and low esteem. Many people experience low self esteem in various degrees, and I certainly do. For some, every single thing they do is a sufficient. For others, they feel inadequate only in certain situations or areas for their life. Wherever you are on the self-esteem spectrum, you can probably benefit from boost in your self-esteem. Identifying what triggers your feelings inadequacy, because the first step is to find on what triggers these feelings. When a thought are you identifying with, which areas or which areas of your life concern, and take a few minutes to write down the following: the situation in which you feel like you aren't good enough, and the thought you identified with your story. Keeping track your accomplishment. Okay, the second step is to keep track your accomplishment. Not feeling good enough often result from the bias view you hold about yourself. You focus on your the shortcomings, failing acknowledge or success. People with healthy self-esteem tend to look at themselves in a more objective way, acknowledging both their shortcomings and their strength. To improve your the self-esteem, start acknowledging all the things you are doing well. The following exercise will you help you do that. Exercise 1: create a win log. One of the best ways to then acknowledge your accomplishments is to write them down. For this exercise, I encourage you to use your the dedicated net notebook. First point, the first term, write down everything you have accomplished in your life, and come up with a list 50 things, and if you run out of things, write smaller accomplishment. This will help you realize how much you have already accomplished. Second, at the end of each day, write down all this you have accomplished that day. It can be simple things such as I woke up on time, I exercise, and I ate healthy breakfast. Try to come up with 5 to 10 things each day. Exercise to fill up your self-esteem jar. An alternative is to write down each things you have accomplished or on separate pieces of paper and put them into jar. Here is our new fine recommendations to ensure you make the most out of this exercise. Make sure your jar or any other container you use is in a visible location. The best location is probably on your desk, and the second best location is in the bedroom. Select a container you like, choose a design you're fond of, and it's all about your self-esteem. So anything that makes you feels good is advisable, and make sure it is the transparent so that you can see it filling up. Give it positive name. Example: my self-esteem jar, declarations of love to myself, etc. Write your accomplishment to on paper you love. For instance, you different colors so that when the jar fills up, it creates something pleasant to the eye. On idea would be to use origami paper, and origami paper, write with your favorite pen. The idea is to show more respect towards yourself by acknowledging your multiple accomplishment. Okay, exercise 3: create a positive journal. Okay, you can also create positive journal to write down the every compliment you received that day. Your colleague told you once shows a look nice, write it down. And your friend compliment your hair, write it down. Your boss told you how well you did your task at, write it down. Well, don't question the sincerity of these compliments. Always assume they are genuine. The idea is to train your mind to focus on the positive things that happen in your life. They are happening whether or not you acknowledge them. Here is how to make the most of the exercise. Buy a notebook you like, personalize it, add sticker, draw something, add pictures, or use different colors. Don't want to do any of this stuff, that's fine as well as, and it's your genre. Keep it with you, carry it with you, look for a new compliments to add your amazing collection. Optional, review it every day. Go through old entires and mentally thank people who complimented you. You can say thank you, insert name, I love you. Feel free to read the old entires in the morning, in the evening, of both, or whether whenever you feel like it. It's up to you. Again, this is your journal, and this sorry, एक minute. Sorry, Third point, I continue reading. I review it every day, go through the old entires mentally, thank people to complimented you, and you can say thank you, insult name, I love you. Okay, and feel free to read the old entires in the morning, in the evening, both whenever you feel like it. It's up to you. Okay, again, this is your general, and these are the just the suggestions, whatever works for you. Learning to concept compliments, chances are you have difficulties accepting compliments. Do the following sentences look familiar? It is a never big deal, everybody could have done it, it's because so and so help you, and I could have done it better. Here is a great reason why you should accept the compliments, because the person who made the compliments want you receipt, and not enough, not flush it down the toilets. Imagine you just gave a gift to someone, and how would you feel if that person, after opening the box, drop the gift to the floor, step on it and threw it away? You won't like it, you would say sadly that's happen. What we often do when you receive compliments, when we refuse to accept compliments, we are disrespecting the person who went out of their way to deliver it. Wouldn't you want to compliments to be accept whole heartedly? Exercise 1, accept compliments. This simple exercise will help you accept compliments. Whenever someone compliments you, say the following: thank you, insert the person's name. That's it. There is nothing simpler. No thank you, but thank you, you too, or it wasn't big deal. It simply say thank you. Here is how to make most of the exercise. Say thank you out loud and clearly. You may discover you have the tendency to repress your feelings and end up saying thank you almost mechanically. In fact, you may realize you have never really said thank you with all your heart. Let it sink before you start a new sentence, and give space for the feeling of gratitude to express itself. Don't downplay the compliment or explain why you are worthy or unworthy of it. Tell it the way you feel it. Show your appreciation by telling the person who complimented and you how you feel. You may exercise resistance. Many of us have difficulties expressing gratitude because our pride prevents us uh, from doing so. After all, we are strong and don't need anybody help compliment, do we don't want to feel vulnerable. If you experience resistance and find exercise difficult, recognize this is a normal. Okay, your ability to accept compliments can be good indicator of your level of self esteem. Practice accepting compliments and allow yourself to feel vulnerable. Accepting you are worthy of compliments will you help you boost up your self-esteem. Exercise 2, the appreciations game. The purpose of this game is to learn appreciate things yourself you didn't previously acknowledge or like. It will work well if you have a partner you can play the game with on regular basis. Tell your partner 3 things you appreciate in them and task them to do the same. Be as specific as possible and don't worry about coming up and big things. Here are some examples. I appreciate that you prepared breakfast this morning even though you were you were in rush. I appreciate that you pick up the kids today. I appreciate the way you always listen to my problems after work. To go further, self-esteem is a complex topic. It affects a lot of people and is often misunderstood. Overcoming low esteem takes a time and effort. If you regularly feels you aren't good enough, and encourage you to refer and to the following books. If you upon reading these books you realize you have several and chronic self-esteem issue, you may want to consult a specialist. The 6 pillars of self-esteem by Nathaniel Braden, and PhD, breaking the chain of low esteem by Marilyn Sorsens, PhD. Low self-esteem misunderstood and diagnosed, why you may not find the help you need, and Marilyn Sorsens. Sorensen's PhD. Below is brief summary of some of the main ideas each book. In his book, The Six Pillars of Self-Esteem, living consciously, Nathaniel Branden's words, to live consciously meant it's seek to be aware of everything that bears on our actions, purposes, value, and goals to the best of our ability, whatever that ability may be, and behave accordance with that which we see know. So second point is self acceptance is a choosing to value yourself, to treat yourself with respect, and the stand up for your right to exist. Self acceptance is the basis upon which self esteem develop. 3. Self responsibility. It's the realizing no one is coming to save you and you are responsible for your life. It is accepting that you responsible for your choice and actions. You are responsible for how you use your time and for your happiness, because only you can change your life. Assertiveness means honoring your wants, needs, and the values, and seeking appropriate forms in of their expression in reality. Point number 5, living purposefully, is to use your powers to achieve the goals and you have selected. In other words, it is your ability to set and achieve goals in every area of your life. Personal integrity is a behaving in a that matches your ideals, convictions and belief. It is when you can look at yourself in the mirror and that know you are doing the right things. In the breaking chain of low self-esteem, Marilyn Sorensen provide the great overview of that, of what self-esteem is and how it works. The author explained that low self-esteem stems from the negative perceptions you hold of yourself, a perception that is largely, if not entirely, based on your interpretations of past experience. These distorted perceptions of reality leads to you experience fear and anxiety. Your family environment may have play a big part. Perhaps your parents have repeatedly put you down, making you feel through nothing you did was ever good enough. You may now firmly believe you are less worthy than others. As a result, you filter everything based on the negative images yourself as the never looking at reality through the tinted glasses that discard praise and compliments, remembering only criticism. Okay, the criticisms, the examples in our books will help you understand how self-esteem issue manifest in real life. In addition, Mrs. Sorensen provide dozens of practical exercises to help you become more aware of self-esteem issues and provide you the tool to develop of healthier self-esteem. Action step, refer to the exercises in the corresponding sections of the workbook. Section 4, how to use your emotions to grow, not being good enough. Okay, next part continue in next video. So stay connected and don't forget to subscribe my channel please.